everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is AstroUrvasshi, and today in this video I'm going to be talking about the transit of Venus for the next 2 months, for the month of August and September. And I'm going to be talking about love, happiness and success. So before I start, for all those who haven't subscribed, if you've been watching my videos or if you're watching one of my videos for the first time, remember to subscribe and also remember to tap the bell icon. So coming down to the planet Venus and how does it impact us? So Venus, like we all know, it's for our relationships. It's the kind of relationships we attract, and Venus is our happiness index. Basically, Venus shows our capacity of being happy. Sometimes you'll come across people who have everything and they won't be happy still. They're still not happy. They still feel what are they living for? What is the future? What is life about? Life is, such a routine. And they have everything basically. But if you look at their charts, you will see that Venus is afflicted. And you will see people who have not much and yet they're happy, they're enjoying their life, they're finding happiness in the small things in life. That is a strong Venus. So here we have a very simple remedy. In case you have an afflicted Venus, learn to be happy. And if you learn to be happy, you will enhance your Venus. And so you want the qualities of Venus, you want Venus to be prominent in your life, start living like Venus. And when you start denying that Venus in your life, when you start ignoring or not appreciating all the good things in life, then you are you're denying your Venus, and then you are giving away the qualities of the planet Venus. So I did make a video on how to become rich according to astrology, and I'm going to give the link so you guys can go and watch that video. You'll understand what I'm trying to say here in this video. So Venus decides on our capacity of happiness, on our capacity of appreciating life, on our capacity of appreciating relationships, on our promise in relationships. So your promise is also according to how much you will be able to appreciate. Sometimes we are in a good relationship and we still don't appreciate it, so that is also a not good Venus. If you've got a good spouse, so if your Jupiter or your Venus or the other placement, your 7th house is good, but for some reason your Venus is afflicted, so in spite of having a good spouse, you're not able to appreciate that. That is having an afflicted Venus. Also, all luxury, all comfort, everything that is fine, everything that is beautiful, creative, pretty, everything like that is Venus. Vehicles are Venus, comforts, luxuries, travel, all that is Venus. And so having a strong Venus also suggests that all that is a promise in your chart. Of course, you have to see a lot of other things in the chart. It's just not Venus, but Venus is one of the indications. And having an afflicted Venus can also show because Venus is the natural, he's the Lord. Venus is the Lord of the 2nd and the 7th house, the house of business, the house of wealth. So if Venus is afflicted, can show that there could be a lack of wealth, or business could not be doing so well for this person. So it could show that there has to be other indications. One indication is not enough. But yes, it does show that. So in these next 2 months, Venus is going to be closely conjunct with Sun. Venus is combust right now, and Venus is also conjunct Mars. So Venus is right now hemmed between these two malefics, Sun and Mars. Both, are like a ball of fire each. And Venus is this very soft planet. Venus is a watery planet. And we know what happens, when we bring water and fire together. If you start boiling a lot of water, what happens? It just becomes, you get a lot of steam, and which kind of burns, and we want to stay away from steam. But that is what is happening right now. So right now, this conjunction of Venus, Sun, Mars, and of course we also have Mercury, is in the sign of Cancer. On the 8th, Mars is going to move. On the 8th of August, Mars is moving into Leo, and on the 16th, Venus is moving into Leo, and then the sun will also follow. So these 3 planets are then moving into Leo. So right now there's this very close conjunction between sun and Venus. Venus is moving towards the sun every day, getting closer and closer. And on the 15th of August is when, they are at an exact degree, and then they move away. Venus will move first into Leo. So Venus is now ahead of the sun. Now the sun is behind. So now Venus is hemmed between Mars and the sun. So Venus is between these 2 balls of fire. This very delicate, soft planet of everything that is soft and sweet and pretty and delicate and enjoyment and relationships. Relationships are a very, very delicate thing. It's how you handle those relationships will give you the end result. So you have to handle them with care. But when there's this lot of fire in those relationships, so there's going to be a lot of steam, lots of anger, lots of heated arguments, lots of expectations, lots of ego issues. So when Venus is moving towards the sun, and let's see what the sun is. The sun in a chart is the father figure, it's the authority figure, the government. So the sun is, what is the government about? The government is about rules and regulations. The father is about rules. What you should be doing, what you should not be doing is what your father tells you. Most of the times we don't listen to our mothers. I know about that because I'm a mother. So it's difficult for me to get my kids to listen to me. So half the time it's, the dad who is telling them that, guys, you have to do this. There is no option. You just have to do this. And when I have a difficult time telling my children what's to be done, then I get their father involved, because now I know they're going to listen to him. So similarly, it's the sun that is the deciding authority. The sun gives the rules, the regulation, the systems, everything is decided by the sun. And when a planet is going towards the sun, it is in a process of purification. So this planet is, learning a lot of lessons about rules, regulations, systems, conditions and everything. And it's not easy. It's not easy for our children to follow some of the rules and regulations that we set up for them. But then it's good for them. If we don't teach them how to abide by certain rules, then they're going to have a tough time later on, because it's our duty as the parents. So similarly, it's the duty of the sun to teach the rules and regulations to Venus. So Venus has to go through this tough time of purification, of learning rules and regulations, of learning those lessons. So it's going to be a little tough when Venus is moving towards the sun. Venus is already in combustion. It's going deep into combustion every day. It's going towards the sun. And the 15th of August is the peak. So till the 15th of August, we are all going to be learning certain lessons related to our relationships, our loved ones, our spouses, many of us who already, those that have a promise in their chart, those that are dating with people, is going to be, this time is not going to be that easy. A lot of lessons you will be learning, a lot of mistakes that you made in the past will come up in front of you, that if you've not learned those lessons, because Venus and Sun, they're always moving together. And we are constantly learning lessons about our relationships. So this happens many times. So this is one of those times when those lessons will be learned again. If you've not learned them, the time of purification has come again, and you will be learning them this time. And after the 15th, once Venus crosses the sun, then Venus starts gaining a little strength. It starts moving away from the sun. It's still under combustion till about the 13th of September. So the strength of Venus is not there fully, but it's a better Venus. It's a happier Venus. It's a Venus that has learned a lot of lessons. It's a purer Venus, a Venus that is more conscious, Venus that is more aware of how to be happy. It's a Venus which is more creative, Venus which is more now mentally prepared to handle relationships, because the relationships earlier are going to be giving us more trouble, are going to be testing us more, are going to be giving us more lessons to learn. After the 15th of August, since Venus is going to move away, start gaining strength, things are going to be better. We're going to have learned our lessons more, even though it's still in combustion. So the full, happiness from relationship is still not going to be there, but we will know how to act wiser. We will know how to, what to expect, what not to expect. though we will not get the 100% satisfaction, the 100% results that we want in our relationships, but we will have learned how to handle our relationships. So things will start then moving on track. So after the 15th of August, things are definitely looking better. Before the 15th of August, I suggest let's have a little bit of a laid back approach, not expect too much, and be more introspective about our relationships. Think of giving more than expecting more, because many of our times our expectations are not going to be fulfilled, and then of course then we're not going to feel too good about it. And as it is, Venus is combust, so expectations are really not going to be fulfilled. It's a time for learning, and it's after the 15th that we will start understanding our lessons. They will bother us less. We will learn how to give more. We will learn how to handle our relationships better. But then Venus is moving towards Mars. Now Venus is still hemmed between those two malefics, you see. And our relationships we will still feel dominated. Even though we will know now how to handle the situations better, we will still feel dominated. We will feel as if, it's all about structure and control and give and receive, and there's less of tenderness, and there's lots of fire, and there's lots of steam, and many times you would want to react. Remember, Venus here is moving towards Mars. It's going away from the sun, it's moving towards Mars. So the passion will be there. You will feel very passionate. Many of you at this point of time, because now Venus, Mars and Sun are going to be in Leo. So a lot of new relationships will start. You will feel very confident in your expression in relationships, because later on Mercury also will be joining this conjunction. There's going to be a conjunction of 4 planets here. You're going to be feeling more confident. Sun is going to be in Leo, so the confidence level is going to be there. It's all about love and relationships and creativity, and definitely creativity will be enhanced, because Venus has come out of that conjunction as Venus is moving away. So it's not a waning Venus, it's a waxing Venus, it's a growing Venus. And Venus is moving towards Mars, and Mars is giving it that action, the strength, the passion. So a lot of people who are involved in creativity are really going to be doing well. From the 15th of August, many of us who are into any kind of a creative fields are going to be doing very well. Many of us who want to get into a relationship, have had difficulty in expression, are going to be feeling very expressive, are going to be feeling very passionate. But at the same time, we will be feeling there is too much of fire, there is too much of the relationship is a little overpowering, and it's not that soft gentleness that we want. Venus is still not very happy. It's still hemmed between those two malefics. The 9th of September, Venus will move into Virgo, but Venus is still going to be combust, because the degrees between Venus and Sun are still about 8 degrees, 7 to 8 degrees. So Venus is still going to be combust, little better than before, but the impact is still going to be there. Happiness is still not going to be there completely. Lessons will have learnt. It will be a more sensible Venus. But now Venus enters Virgo. And what is Virgo? Virgo is the sign of debilitation of Venus. So now what happens? Now, after having learnt all those lessons that you learnt, you will start becoming a little too practical, a little too calculative. So the passion was there, the communication was there, the expression was there, but at the same time, there will be now a lot of calculation about the relationships you're getting into. You would want to get some in return of giving. So you would want to, the wiser thing to do right now is, those that are getting into a relationship, it's good to go through the pros and cons of the relationship. It's good to analyze. Virgo is a very, very analytical sign. So having Venus there, yes, Venus is debilitated. Here in this very, very calculative sign, it's not very happy. That is why it debilitates, because it needs to calculate, and you will become calculative where your happiness is concerned. You will keep wondering, so is this good enough? I am into this relationship. I was very expressive. I was very, there was a lot of passion. There is still a lot of passion. But is this good for me? Is this worth it? Is this effort all worth the while? And it's a good way. I feel because the sign of Virgo is a very, very pure sign. It's a sign of the Virgin. Having Venus there, there is also a purity that is there in those relationships that have Venus in Virgo. I've practically seen it. I know a lot of people who have Venus in Virgo, debilitated Venus, and those people have a lot of purity in the way they see relationships. In fact, many times I've heard it said Venus in Virgo means almost, especially if it's afflicted, I've heard people say that, they can go into lines like prostitution and stuff. But personally, what I've practically seen is Venus in Virgo are people who go in for very pure relationships, because Virgo is a sign of purity. Venus here comes and becomes very, very pure. It's a sign of a virgin. Of course, if there are other indications in the chart, if there are lots of other indications, then we may expect it. But just because Venus is in Virgo, but Venus in Virgo doesn't give you the happiness that Venus should give, because Venus here becomes very calculative. You will become very calculative about your relationship, and I think it's a good way to be. And you will become very critical about your relationships. You will start analyzing. So that is not a very good thing to do. If you keep analyzing your things, if you keep analyzing your relationships, if you keep analyzing everything that your partner does, then you will never be happy. And if you keep analyzing and critically analyzing yourself, your looks, then there is no end to it. Because that is another thing I've seen. When Venus comes in Virgo, we become very critical about our own looks. And we want to go out and we want to go to a beauty parlor and we want to get our hair done and we want to get some makeup done and what else, so that we look perfect, and we're never happy about our image. So it's a good thing to be working on yourself. It's a good thing if you want to groom yourself, but analyzing and critically analyzing yourself will not give you any happiness. Analyzing the relationship, weighing the pros and the cons of the relationship, and then wisely getting into it, I think it's the best thing to do in today's scenario. I think everybody should be analyzing the relationships that they get into, because it's important to not just jump into something. I don't believe that the passion that Mars and Venus have is very, very in the long run. Sometimes it doesn't give us a lot of happiness, because we don't think, when Mars and Venus are conjunct, like we saw it in the sign of Leo, where you will be more expressive, more confident, more passionate. So sometimes we have a head fall. But when Venus is more calculative, then yes, in natal charts, if it's there, if Venus is in Virgo, then a person can be very calculative, and sometimes they can be so calculative and so critical that they just won't get into a relationship. They will keep analyzing the pros and cons. So my suggestion here is not to overdo it, but it's good to do it to an extent. It's good to analyze, it's good to decide on the pros and cons and then step into something. Similarly, if you're analyzing your existing relationships, then you're going to be in trouble. If you're critically analyzing everything, if you're critically analyzing your partner, then definitely you're going to be in trouble. So all you need to do is, instead of doing that, use this time, the entire September. 9th of September, Venus moves into Virgo, and Venus is going to be there for the entire September. Use this time to enhance your creativity, because Venus does great where creativity is concerned in the sign of Virgo. You'll see a lot of great artists have their Venus in Virgo, because they are so analytical, they are so critical about their creativity that they go to the extent of perfection where creativity is concerned. They want to perfect their creativity. I'll give you an example. Amitabh Bachchan, one of the biggest superstars of India today, has his Venus in the sign of Virgo. So he would be very, very critical about his own acting skills, about his creativity, and that's what helps him perfect everything. That's what has helped him perfect his own looks even at this age, and that's what will help him perfect all his acting experiences in all his movies. So what I mean to say is, it's good to have Venus in such a practical sign if we use it intelligently, if we use it for creativity, if we use it to analyze a relationship that we are getting into. But being analytical of our existing relationships would just bring in a lot of unhappiness. And that is why we are unhappy when Venus is in Virgo, because we are always analyzing our present relationships. So using that analysis in creativity would be a great end to this position, would be a great use of this position in enhancing our creativity and in going towards perfection. and in deciding on the relationship that we should get into and we should not getting into. But using this critical analysis in existing relationships would definitely get us in trouble. So if you're going to get into a relationship, it's a good time. Go ahead, analyze as much as you want to from the 9th of September to the end of September. But if you are in a relationship, then use that analysis in your profession, in your creativity. So these 2 months, it's like, it's up and down where relationships are concerned. Lots of passion, lots of lessons learned, lots of arguments, and then lots of analysis, lots of criticism, and lots of low feelings, highs and lows and highs and lows. That's how this month is. In fact, these 2 months are. So interesting month. The first half is actually interesting. When it's in the sign of Leo, lots of love relationships happening, lots of short relationships happening, lots of passion you see there, and then you will start analyzing and you will decide on what to keep and what to give away. So be careful on what you're getting into. There's no point in breaking your heart over just a couple of weeks. So that is all for now. We'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.